Can you hear me? Please give me a thumbs up if you can see screen. Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Today, we are happy to present our final web services testing project about a new online gaming venture. This project was put together by a wonderful team of people that I would like to introduce to you. Our Scrum Master, Bayana, our knowledgeable product owner, Eric, our skillful DBA, Fahim, our Scrum team developer, Marian, our meticulous QA lead, Natalia, and our detail-oriented QA engineer, Zoya. We all wanted to try all the aspects of this project. Therefore, regardless of our titles in Scrum team, we collaborated, built, and tested all the pieces together and helped each other in the process. Let's talk about the project as a whole first. The online gaming industry is a dynamic and rapidly growing sector.
Bayana, we lost your audio.
Yes.
And artificial intelligence. Financially, the gaming industry benefits from multiple income sources like in-game purchases, subscriptions, and advertising, contributing significantly to job creation and GDP. And lastly, the gaming community fosters social interaction and belonging, with developers prioritizing player feedback for long-term success. And now Eric will continue with the presentation. Eric, please take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Viana. We designed a comprehensive end-to-end architecture to support the functionalities of our video game platform, ensuring scalability, reliability, and performance. The client refers to the user-facing interface, typically web or mobile applications, through which users interact with the game's platform. Allows users to browse games, view details, make purchases, manage profiles, and interact with other users. The game server is a backend component responsible for managing game-related operations and data processing. The API middleware acts as an intermediate layer between the client and the database server, facilitating communications and data processing. Handles authentications, authorizations, request validations, data transformation, and allegations. The database serves as a centralized repository for storing game data and other relevant information. Stores game metadata. The database interacts with the game server and API middleware to provide data for game operations and user interactions. Our database and microservice architectures enables flexibility, scalability, and resilience in managing game-related data and functionalities. A centralized database stores game-related data and user profiles. The schema includes tables for games, information, user profiles, and relationships. On the microservice layer, our system is decomposed into small independent services, each focusing on specific functionalities like user management, game catalog, reviews, authentications, and recommendations. The architecture offers scalability, flexibility, resilience, and technology diversity, allowing us to adapt changing requirements and technology. Next, I'll pass it on to Natalia.
Thank you, Eric. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So, Postman was one of the tools used for our testing REST APIs. Here we performed end-to-end architecture. First, we created a database with tables for games, linked our Node.js server with MySQL. We use MySQL package to interact with MySQL database, created configuration file and helper.js file. We added the route code and linked to the services. We wrote the services games.js file that acts as the bridge between the route and the database. added an error handler middleware to handle errors and provide a proper status code and message. After adding endpoints, when we run our app again with Node index.js and hit the browser with localhost 3000 games, we could see output results for get, post, put, delete operations. Besides Postman, there are other tools and applications that are available in the market. And we used a new version of SOAP UI. It's called Brady API. After creating games project and creating APIs definitions with get, post, put, delete methods, we created test cases to verify the functionality of our APIs. This included functional tests to ensure endpoints return the responses. And also we did performance tests. In our case, we did load tests with ramp-up and burst scenarios. Why? To evaluate scalability and response times. And right now, at this moment, we are working on security tests for vulnerabilities. Also, to validate the responses from games APIs, we define assertions. Why assertions? It's because we want to ensure that our APIs behave as expected. And next, we executed tests. We checked our results to see if there are any issues. We didn't have any. All tests passed. And finally, we integrated games APIs into our CI/CD pipeline to automate testing and ensure that our APIs are tested regularly. Now I'll hand it over to Marianne.
Thank you, Natalia. So as Natalia mentioned, we couldn't stop just with 2 tools, so we moved to Eclipse because we would like to have a CI/CD pipeline integrated with Jenkins. So to do that, we started with Git, and we created a new Git repo web API, added collaborators as our group team members, and based on that, we created a new Eclipse project where we put all CRUD requests in there, run them one by one, and then execute it as a whole, and created reports that we put on a web server, on a web browser, so everyone in the team can look through it and actually send it to our customers. After that, we moved to the full Jenkins automation. The Jenkins was connected to Git repository. The several builds will run, and every time we had updates in Git, it was triggered a new build. Based on that, we looked at our reports to see where we at, which build passed, which build failed, and so on and so forth. So after Jenkins automation was done, we decided let's try something more, and we moved to Swagger. And in here, besides the get, post, delete, and put request, we put additional get by game ID. So it was a little bit, touch and go after a while, but finally everything worked, and we were happy with our Swagger implementation. And I don't want to, tell you, I want you to tell you that before we did any of the coding, we started with the interface contract. That's how we knew what data will be in our project, what our endpoints will look like, what our payload will look like. So this is our contract based on the requirements from the shareholders. And lastly, we have lots of challenges. One of them, of course, was the time constraint. We all have, lives outside the school, so we have to be proactive and manage it. So what we did as a key learning, we focused on task at hand and prioritize our studies and commitments, and it gave us a leg up on finishing a project on time. Another key challenge was the lackluster knowledge base. So we felt that besides Postman, the rest of the technology and new applications were something unexpected. So again, we learned from each other and empowered each other with, sharing knowledge, getting together either online or in, face-to-face, and help each other through all the challenges. And lastly, because our application was localized, not network-based, the installation, then debugging and troubleshooting presented a huge challenge. And again, we came up as a team. We help each other. If somebody found the solution, we tried on different laptops and finally get the project work on all our stations. So this is about our key challenges and key learnings, and I think it's time to do a live demo. Let me pass it on to Bayana to start us up.
Thank you, Marian. Please give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen.
It's still loading, Bayana. We can
There we
see.
go. Yep.
Thank you. Let me start from the basic. First, we set up database using MySQL workbench. We created a new database video games and a table games. In this table, each game has a unique ID as auto increment and a title that is not now. The rest of the fields are optional. And we put data in our database. Based on this data, we created microservices and moved on to testing using Postman. Here we created a new collection video games, and we added all 4 requests: get, post, put, delete. Works correctly. You run them as collection. Here you can see. And you can see all our tests passed. After we finished with Postman, we moved to Ready API, where we wanted to show that not only XML SOAP testing can be done, but also a JSON-based REST API can be tested. We created a new project, games project, and we added every REST request one by one: post, get, update, and delete. And for each request, we created a separate test case under one test suite. After that, we executed test suite. And based on that, we performed load testing. Now we run load test for get game request. So you can see how it's going. And you can see the report. Project. Now you can see Eclipse. The reason we did it in Eclipse, we automated API testing and integrated into Git repo in order to connect to Jenkins for CI/CD automation pipeline. Here you can see our project, Karate project API, and we put all 4 CRUD processes, including get, create, change, and delete. And then we run test runner as a JUnit test. Just let me run. It's running. And something is wrong. Okay. But
Okay, Bayana. It worked before, guys. It did.
yes, it works.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. And here we created Karate project reports. We can open with web browser. Here you can see our project for change game details, for get games, for change and delete. So you can see that we explore different applications to run API testing. Now I'll hand over to Natalia and she will show Swagger API testing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bojana. Please, guys, let me know if you can hear me and if you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. So now I would like to demonstrate our Swagger implementation. Here we already have our command prompt running. Our server is also running on port 5000. And now we're taking you to our API docs. Here you guys can see our endpoints for games. And we would like to show you a few. First, we would like to begin with post. And we would like to create a new game. For the games, we have, for the post, we have 3 parameters here. We have ID, we have title, and we have genre. So now we're quickly gonna create a new game. The game ID will be number 8, the title itexps, and the genre is gonna be educational. So if we execute it, we're supposed to see the game created. And we see it right here, ID 8, title, and genre educational. The code is 2.1, and it says game created successfully. Perfect. Now, if we go to get endpoint, we close this and we'll go to get. And if we want to get all games and we execute, we should be able to see, and we do see response body, and we can see all the games that we have here. And the last one that we created in post was ID, a game with ID 8, itexps, and the genre is educational with code 200 and success. We also have other endpoints here, delete a game by ID, get game by ID input, which is change or edit a game by ID. And now I would like to hand it over to Eric to talk about Jenkins. Thank you.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Eric.
All right, let me share my screen.
While Eric sharing his screen, let me tell you that 2 of our team members are not available. Fahim is working night shift, and Zoya is have a newborn, so she is busy. But they were essential to all our implementation. Eric, we can see your screen.
You can see my screen? Okay,
Yes.
so here's Jenkins. So we have the job running is API testing that's running our job in Git. So if I click on build now, you see the job running. Let me go to the console output. So you see that on the console output, it's starting to run the test. You see all tests ran and they all passed.
Mm-hmm.
So successful. I ran into a couple issues with reporting that I wanted to do some different reporting, but we could talk about that later. But I'll pass it on to Marianne to finish it off.
Thank you, Eric. Actually, we've got the reports last week, so I was able to get the screenshots of the reports, and right, before the live demo, reports stopped working. So that's all for our presentation. If you have any questions, we are ready to answer them.
First of all, good job, guys. Seems like you all did everything what is needed for the project. So question to you, how you guys feel after maybe 5 to 7 weeks of this training? Did you gain that experience and confidence which anyone who wants to take training?
Bojana, do you want to answer that?
Well, we got a lot of knowledge about API testing, about tools that we can use in our job. So, and the project we were participated, we're so excited. and teamwork, collaboration, communication everything was perfect. Thank you, everyone.
I would like to add something. You know, guys, so the tools, yeah, we did know before, but now we know how and we also had some challenges and problems, like we couldn't run the programs, and it was so frustrating, and it would take hours. But then we had some, people like Marianne, Eric, or we would go to school and ask in WhatsApp, and people were helpful, and, they would help us, and we were able to overcome challenges and solve the problems. And now we can say, we understand some tools. And we know so much about web services and APIs. Thank you.
And also, I want to add that took too much time, and we get experience of troubleshooting.
Yeah, more problem you experience is better because you know how to fix it, right? In this class, you learn like many tools, like example, Postman, example, Ready API, example, and how to develop microservice, example, Karate. So my questions to you all, right? Which one is your favorite and why it is you feel it's easy and maybe powerful?
Eric, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah. For me, I worked on Postman before and Soap UI, so I was already familiar with that. But I think Karate, not understanding what Karate and how to use it, and to use it as not only the framework and be able to do automation on it, helped me extremely a lot, because I had no idea about Karate.
Very good. What you guys know is real skill, real tools, real market needs. So first of all, thank you for working hard, and your demonstration shows that the training does work and you are able to do the demonstrations with your own service. So first of all, update your resume. If you need help on how to update and all, let me know. I can be available on Saturday. We can happy to share and discuss about it, but don't stop here. Whenever you see like a web service tester, that's the area you're applying. I can give you assurance compared to Selenium web automation, web service testing is easier and high pay jobs. So congratulations, all of you completed a big round. So let's give a big round to this group.
I know it's late, but we think that you're going to find our presentation interesting and exciting. We'll be presenting our Redbox web service project. We did not reverse engineer Redbox's API. We created our own from scratch, our own movie rental API, but we just decided we'll call it Redbox. And who are we? We're the Web Services Group 3 team. We're made up of Zara, Hind, Priyank, Rajan, Raman, Dake, Natalia, myself, and Vero. The purpose of the Redbox Web Service Project is to provide users with convenient access to a wide range of digital content. Features include allowing users to browse through a catalog of available movies and TV shows. We implemented a search feature that enables users to quickly find specific titles based on keywords, and we allow users to rate and review content, which will help others make informed decisions. It's aimed at distributing digital content, which is particularly focused on video rentals and sales. Our technology stack consists of, on the back end, we use server-side programming languages such as Python and XML, database, JSON, WSDL, and hosting was performed on local machines. For testing and quality assurance, we use Swagger, Postman, Karate, and Ready API. We implemented comprehensive testing strategies, including unit tests, integration tests, end-to-end tests to ensure reliability and functionality of the platform. So we would appreciate your continued attention as I hand it over to Zara.
Thank you, Rich. Hi, everyone. So here is an actual screenshot of our GitHub URL. So GitHub is a web-based platform used for version control and collaboration on software development projects. It utilizes Git, which is a distributed version control system to manage and track changes to code. Come-in is going to be our end-to-end architecture. So end-to-end web services refer to the full range of components and interactions involved in a web service-based system, from the client-side interface to the back-end data storage and processing. After that, we have the implementation approach. So here we have 6 phases. 1, define requirements, which means understand the purpose and functionality of the web service, determine what data it will handle, what operations it will support, and what technologies will be involved. 2, choose a technology stack, which means select the appropriate technologies for your web service. This includes deciding on the programming language, frameworks, and protocols to use. So common choices include RESTful APIs with JSON or XML, SOAP, etc. Then we have design the API, design the endpoint and payload structure of your web service, define the resources, URLs, HTTP method, request response formats, authentication mechanism, and error handling strategies. Tools like Swagger can help with API documentation and design. Then we have implement the service. It signifies to write the code for the web service according to the design. This involves creating the necessary logic to handle incoming requests, process data, and generate responses. Test the service means develop test cases to verify that the web service functions correctly under various conditions. Test for functionality, performance, and reliability. Automated testing tools can assist in this process too. And then we have deploy the service. Deploy the web service locally or to a server or a cloud platform where it can be accessed by a client. After the slide, I have a test report. So this particular test was performed on Postman. It consists of 4 pages. So the test setup is 3 virtual users, 2 minutes, and it's performed locally. So the summary for this is 934 requests sent, 7.37 requests per second for an average response time of 12 milliseconds. Response time trends during the test duration, throughout rate of requests per second during the test duration. On the next page, requests with slowest response time. Top 5 slowest requests based on their average response time. Requests with most error. Typically, this would be the top 5 requests with the most errors, along with the most frequently occurring errors for each request. On the next page, metric for each request. The requests are shown in the order they were sent by virtual users. Errors distribution over time. Typically, this would be the top 5 errors classes observed during the test duration. And then on the next one, we have error distribution for requests, error request grouped by error class, along with the error count for each class. So testing APIs in Postman will enable you to stimulate user traffic and observe how your API behaves under load, and it helps you identify the potential issues and bottlenecks. So now I'm going to pass it to my friend Roman.
Thank you, Zara. Good evening. So as a team, the testing approaches we used for Redbox API test, we utilized tools such as Postman, Swagger, and Karate to test the API endpoints and thoroughly verified the following HTTP methods: GET, we used to retrieve data from the server, post for creating new resources on the server, put utilized to update existing resources, and delete used to remove resources from the server. We meticulously validated the request and response payloads, including headers. We ensured correct headers were included in requests. Status codes, we verified that the appropriate status codes were returned. Data formats, we checked that data formats such as JSON or XML were consistent. And then as a team, the tools and technologies we used were Ready API, Git, Python, REST API, Swagger, Flask, Karate Labs, Eclipse, Visual Studio Code, Postman, and SOAP UI. And for communication, we used WhatsApp mainly, and then WebEx for meetings. And the key challenges we faced as a team or working on the project, I would say, API testing complexity. So testing multiple or integrated APIs can be intricate and demand significant expertise. Ensuring seamless communication between these APIs can easily become complicated, especially when dealing with intricate data. Limited visibility at the integration level, it becomes difficult to observe how an API impacts other parts of the system. So this lack of visibility complicates debugging and problem resolution. Time-consuming, developing and executing test scripts for APIs can be time-intensive. Rigorous testing requires thorough validation, which can extend the testing timeline. Limited test coverage. API testing faces limitations in coverage all possible scenarios and edge cases. Ensuring comprehensive test coverage becomes a challenge due to the vast array of potential inputs and interactions. Then for key learning, as a team, I would first say, besides the testing, that as a team, I learned a lot from everybody. But for testing related web services was understanding the underlying technologies. A deep understanding of the technologies that power web service is crucial. Familiarity with protocols such as HTTP, REST, SOAP, and data formats like JSON, XML helps testers navigate complexities. API documentation is crucial. Comprehensive API documentation is essential for effective testing. It provides insights into endpoints, request formats, request structures, and authentication mechanisms. API contracts and contract testing that defines clear contracts between API consumers and providers ensures consistency. Contract testing validates that APIs adhere to these predefined contracts. Performance testing is essential for evaluating how APIs perform under various loads and conditions is vital. Load testing, stress testing, and latency measurement contribute to robust and reliable services. So by embracing these key learnings and continually refining test practices, testers can contribute to the development of robust, reliable, and high-performing web services. So now I will hand over next part of the presentation to Viral. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're muted.
Much better. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. I was doing the other window. Sorry. Okay, so these are GitHub page as you've seen in the presentation. And this is where we, created our code and updated time to time. And it has a application Python and the contract and README, which is right here. It has a beautiful, simple instruction how to use it, so anybody can go ahead and use it if you want to try it. And next, I will take you to the contract, which is right here. So this is a basic contract for our web service API, and in that we have defined all the methods get movie by their ID, and we have a post, also put and delete. So we have this kind of long contract. You guys can read it. And the next thing I will show you is our application app.py. So basically we use the Flask, and I also use the HTTP basic authentication. So in order to, if anybody wants to delete the movie, that person has to be authenticated. And this right here, this section is for Swagger. And I hard-coded the, username and password. I shouldn't, but this is just for a lab. I did it. And here is all the definitions for get, put, post, and delete method. And next, I will show you our database, JSON. So we use in-memory database, local JSON base. And to start with, I have created like first 10 movies. And after that, I can give the demo in Swagger right here. And first of all, let me turn it on, because I have to turn it on. And let me command prompt and okay. Now I'm going to move to the folder where I have my application. CD. Okay, right here. So I have my application in here. I'm going to run it by doing Python space app.py and enter. So now it's running on my local machine on port number 5000, which is right here. If I do enter,
It will not work because you lock yourself. Enter. One more enter. One more enter. Yeah.
There we go. I forget all the time. Okay, so these are a Swagger page where you can see we have like post method, get movie by ID, put, delete. So I'll start with the get method first, and I will do try it out and execute, and the result should be all the data from 1 to 10, which is right here. And you can see that 200 success data score is 200 success, which is good, which was expected. And the next thing, I will show you the post by creating a new record. For that, try it, and I can do ID is 11. The name is can do X, Y, Z. Here, 1920. That's enough. 5.5. Very good. Right. Let's execute it and execute. Oops, 400. Why is that? Post the movie. It should work. Wow. Okay, I'll get to this method later, but I'll show you the put method. And let's see, let's do the put. Okay, so let's say if I change ID number 2, I'll make the movie name ABC. And if I execute this, I should be able to, oops, movie at least 2. My bad. And there we go. Okay, so we have response is 200, which is success. And if I go back to the GET and execute it again, I should be able to see number 2 change. Yep, right here. And I will try get by ID. Next. So in order to do that, we have to provide the ID number, which is I'm going to give it a 5. And here we go. You can see that. And 200 success. Last, I will try delete. For that, I'm going to pass movie ID. I'm going to pass 5 and execute, and it will ask me for the password, ID and password. So if I provide the wrong ID and password, it will keep asking me. It won't work. But I will give the ID and correct ID and password. It should work. And there we go. Oops. There we go. So 204 movie deleted. If we go back to the get and if we execute again, we won't be able to see number 5. Oops. Which one is this? Oh, post. Right here. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, number 4 and number 6. Number 5 is not there. And yeah, these are Swagger. Next, we did the Postman too, but we do have like limited time, so I'm not gonna go over the Postman. But yeah, after that, I'm still working on my Jenkins. I don't know, for some reason my Jenkins, my tastes are keep failing, but I'm still working on it. So yeah, that's about it. Now I'm going to pass to the Dake. Hey, Dake, do you want to take over?
Sure, I'll take over. Hello, everyone. Just want to let you all know my voice is going to be a little raspy, so just rock with me on this one. We're all going to get our black belt in karate, so just be patient with me, okay? First off, I'm just going to make sure you all can see my screen, okay? Are you still sharing? Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Not yet. Yeah, I thought it was automatic, but no.
No.
Okay. All right, hello. Hi, this is Dake, all right? And I'm gonna show you all how to throw the first punch in karate. And what we're going to do is I'm gonna show you all that we're gonna do a quick test, a JUnit test specifically, by using the get method, okay? And this is the feature scenario right here. But before I get into that, we're going to show you all a little bit of our work, what we've done. So this is how we uploaded some of this, the user's details that feature to help us get the get method. I had a little bit of help with, of course, with the group. We all put our work in, especially Priyak. He helped me out with this. I know that to get an error in this situation is if you don't have a support page, it won't work. So I made sure that's in there. So that's one of the ways we know you get an error. My users.json, I normally use the Visual Studio Code, but I just had updated my Eclipse so we could get an actual abstract WSDL. And so I used Eclipse for that. And as you see, we have movies and everything uploaded here, ID name, year, genre, and rating. And now we're going to go ahead and go for our JUnit test. So when I'm about to do that, We're just going to see the results. And by the way, the application URL is running. And we're going to see when we get our first hiya, we have a green check mark here on the JUnit test. So, and we have all green, so our JUnit test passed. So that's a hiya. So that's the good thing right there. And then for the Karate API project, we're going to go with the Maven install. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the Karate summary.html and check and make sure that passed. And we are going to make sure we get, excuse me, my apologies. Our, excuse me, stop this. But anyway, just run anyways. Wanted to do Maven install, but it's going to run. But let me make sure we get our black belt in karate. And once again, I use Maven test instead, but as you can see, we still had a success, still a green. So we all should be masters in karate. And now for karate /summary.html. And normally when you click it, it normally opens up right away. But in this situation, I just recently updated my Eclipse. So we're just going to open it with the web browser this time and just go ahead and show it off. And as you can see, the get method was successful. And that's all everything that was ran in the scenarios. And with that being said, I will bow and to the master of karate, and we all are able to exit this dojo.